Have you ever wondered why it feels so painful when someone ignores you? Have you found yourself constantly checking your phone, waiting for a reply that never comes? Or maybe you've experienced the silent treatment from someone you care about deeply. These are everyday situations that almost all of us face. Ignoring can make us feel invisible, unwanted, or even disrespected. But what if there's a way to handle this better? What if, instead of feeling hurt, we could learn to find peace within ourselves? Imagine this. You send a message to a close friend, but hours pass, and there's no reply. Your mind begins to race with thoughts like, did I do something wrong? Why are they not responding? Instead of letting these feelings take over, what if you could step back and feel calm, regardless of the outcome? That's what we're here to explore today. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we delve deep into the teachings of Buddhism to find answers to life's challenges. If you've ever felt ignored, this video will help you find peace, clarity, and strength from within. Make sure you stay with us till the end, because we'll be sharing some valuable insights that could truly transform how you see situations where you're ignored. Before we move forward, we'd like to remind you, there are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So, if you find this helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us bring more content like this to you. Now, let's dive into the core of what being ignored truly means. In Buddhism, attachment to how others treat us often causes suffering. When we cling to expectations, especially expecting attention or validation from others, we set ourselves up for pain when things don't go as we hope. Understanding this is the first step toward inner peace. The feeling of being ignored can stir up emotions like anger, sadness, and frustration. But according to Buddhist teachings, these emotions are not permanent. They come and go, just like waves in the ocean. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to observe these feelings without getting carried away by them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause and reflect. Buddhism teaches that each person has their reasons for acting the way they do. When someone ignores us, it might have nothing to do with us at all. It could be that they're going through their struggles, or perhaps they're distracted by something else in their life. Understanding this can help us release the weight of personalizing their behavior. Ultimately, being ignored gives us an opportunity to practice detachment. Detachment doesn't mean not caring about others. It means not letting their actions control our inner peace. It's about finding strength within ourselves, rather than looking for it outside. Stay tuned because, in the next parts, we'll be diving deeper into how Buddhism can help us not only handle being ignored but transform how we approach every relationship in life. Acceptance, letting go of the desire for validation. You see, when someone ignores you, it stirs something deep within. That feeling of being unseen, unheard, and perhaps even unloved. It can be heavy, can't it? But, my dear friend, there is a great lesson in this. In this moment, you are given the chance to learn about one of the most powerful principles in life: acceptance. Acceptance is not about giving up or letting others walk over you. No, it is far deeper than that. Acceptance means seeing things as they are without wishing them to be different. When someone ignores you, the natural reaction is to chase after their attention or become consumed by the question, why are they ignoring me? But Buddhism teaches us that the desire for validation, the need for others to recognize and acknowledge us, is a source of suffering. You see, the Buddha taught that our attachment to external things, whether they are people, outcomes, or material possessions, leads to suffering. And what is more external than someone else's attention? It's something we cannot control. Yet, we often place so much weight on it. We tie our sense of self-worth to how others treat us, forgetting that true peace and happiness come from within. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting beside a calm river. You throw a small stone into the water, and for a few moments, ripples appear on the surface. But soon, the water returns to its still, serene state. This is how your mind can be. When someone ignores you, it's like that stone being thrown into the river. It creates a disturbance, a ripple of emotions. But with acceptance, you can let those emotions pass, and soon your mind will return to peace, like the water becoming still again. So how do we practice this acceptance? It starts with a deep understanding that the need for validation is a form of attachment. When you seek approval or attention from others, you are handing over your power to them. You are saying, my happiness depends on how you treat me. But, my friend, no one should have that kind of power over you, except you. You must reclaim it by letting go of the need for their attention. When someone ignores you, it's easy to fall into a spiral of self-doubt. You might ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Am I not worthy of their time? These are natural thoughts, but they are not truths. The truth is that each person moves through life with their own struggles, their own distractions. Their behavior is often a reflection of what they are going through, not a reflection of your worth. Acceptance means understanding this truth deeply. It means realizing that the actions of others are beyond your control and not tied to your value as a person. When you truly accept this, you become free. Free from the chains of needing someone else's attention to feel good about yourself. This freedom is a precious gift, one that brings immense peace. Let me share with you a simple practice. The next time you feel ignored, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly, and as you do, remind yourself that you are enough. Exhale, and let go of the need for validation. Inhale, recognizing your worth. Exhale, releasing any expectations you have of others. This simple act of mindful breathing can help you step back from the emotions that arise when someone ignores you. It creates space between the feeling and your reaction, allowing you to choose acceptance over frustration. And as you practice this, you'll begin to notice something wonderful. You'll start to see that your happiness, your peace, does not depend on whether someone responds to your message or acknowledges your presence. It comes from a place much deeper. It comes from your own heart, your own mind. It comes from acceptance. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called equanimity, which is the state of being calm and composed, no matter what happens around you. This is what acceptance brings, a kind of inner calm that is not shaken by the actions of others. When you develop equanimity, being ignored no longer feels like a personal attack. Instead, it becomes just another event in life, like the weather. Sometimes it rains, sometimes the sun shines, but you remain centered, unaffected by these changes. It is important to remember that acceptance is not about suppressing your feelings. If you feel hurt when someone ignores you, that is okay. It is natural to feel this way, but acceptance allows you to feel the emotion, acknowledge it, and then let it go. You don't have to hold on to it, letting it fester and grow into resentment or anger. Instead, you can simply observe the feeling, much like a cloud passing in the sky. It is there for a moment, and then it moves on. When you let go of the desire for validation, you are not losing anything. In fact, you are gaining something far more valuable, your inner peace. You are no longer at the mercy of others' actions. You become the master of your own mind, your own emotions. And with this mastery comes a deep sense of freedom. You may wonder, but how do I stop seeking validation? It feels so automatic. Yes, it does. We have been conditioned, from a young age, to seek approval from others. But the beauty of Buddhism is that it shows us how to break free from this conditioning. Through mindfulness and meditation, you can become more aware of when you are seeking validation. And with this awareness, you can choose to let it go. Start by observing your thoughts. The next time you feel ignored, notice the thoughts that arise. Are they thoughts of self-doubt? Are you craving attention? Simply notice these thoughts without judgment. This practice of mindful awareness is the first step in breaking the cycle. Once you become aware of these thoughts, you can begin to shift them. Instead of thinking, why are they ignoring me? Try thinking, their actions are not a reflection of my worth. This simple shift in perspective can make a world of difference. In this way, you begin to accept not only the situation but also yourself. You accept that you are enough, just as you are, without needing anyone else to confirm it. This is the true power of acceptance. It is not about resigning yourself to being ignored. It is about realizing that being ignored does not diminish your value. And as you continue to practice this, you will find that your interactions with others change as well. When you no longer seek validation, you approach relationships from a place of fullness, not neediness. You are no longer looking for others to fill a void within you. Instead, you bring your own peace, your own sense of self-worth to every interaction. This changes the dynamic entirely. So, my dear friend, the next time you feel ignored, remember this. You do not need anyone else's validation to know your worth. You are enough, just as you are. Accept the situation for what it is, and let go of the need for attention or approval. In doing so, you will find a deeper peace than you ever thought possible. Acceptance is the key to unlocking this peace. It is the key to freeing yourself from the suffering that comes with seeking validation. And once you have this key, you can use it not just in moments of being ignored, but in all areas of your life. You will find that acceptance opens the door to a life of true freedom, inner strength, and lasting happiness. Self-compassion, cultivating inner peace when ignored. Ah, dear one, when someone ignores you, what is it that truly hurts? Is it the silence? Or is it the story your mind begins to weave? The mind, it can be like a restless monkey, jumping from one thought to another. When we feel ignored, the mind fills in the gaps, often imagining the worst. Why are they doing this? What did I do wrong? These questions arise like flames, burning away our peace. But let us pause here. Let us look deeper and remember. The source of our pain is not in the other person, but within ourselves. The first step on this path is self-compassion. What does this mean? It means to be kind to yourself, to treat yourself with the same gentleness that you would offer a dear friend. Think about it. If a friend came to you and said, "I am feeling hurt because someone is ignoring me," what would you tell them? Would you criticize them or tell them they're not worthy of attention? No, you would comfort them, wouldn't you? You would say, "It's okay. You are enough, just as you are." But when it comes to ourselves, we often forget this kindness. In moments of being ignored, self-compassion is like a cool breeze that calms the flames of anxiety and hurt. Instead of beating yourself up or trying to figure out why someone isn't responding, take a moment to sit with yourself. Breathe deeply, feel your heartbeat, and remind yourself that your worth does not depend on someone else's attention. In Buddhism, we learn that all beings are interconnected, yet each of us carries our own burdens. Sometimes, when others ignore us, it is not because of who we are, but because of what they are going through. It's important not to take it personally. Imagine this. You are walking in a forest, and a tree blocks your path. Do you get angry at the tree? No, you understand that the tree is simply there, and you find another way. In the same way, when someone doesn't give you the attention you seek, it is not a reflection of your value. They are like the tree, standing in their place, perhaps because of their own struggles. You, my dear one, must find another way, the way of peace within. This is where self-compassion becomes your guide. When you practice kindness toward yourself, you stop relying on the reactions of others to feel good. You begin to understand that you are whole, even in silence. When someone ignores you, it does not diminish your worth. You are still a beautiful, complete being. In Buddhism, we are taught to cultivate metta, loving kindness. This starts with ourselves. As you sit in meditation or even in a quiet moment, repeat these simple words: "May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering." Allow these words to sink deep into your heart. With practice, they will become like a soft blanket, comforting you when the cold winds of rejection blow. Another aspect of self-compassion is allowing yourself to feel. Sometimes, we think that being spiritual means we shouldn't feel hurt or sadness. But this is not the way of truth. In Buddhism, we acknowledge that all feelings, even painful ones, are part of the human experience. When you are ignored, it is natural to feel hurt. But instead of pushing the feeling away or letting it consume you, simply acknowledge it. Say to yourself, "I am feeling sad right now, and that's okay." When you allow yourself to feel without judgment, the pain begins to lose its grip. In moments of silence from others, there is also an opportunity to listen to yourself. When the world outside grows quiet, the noise within becomes more noticeable. This is your chance to turn inward and ask, what is it that I truly need? Often, we look to others to fill a void inside us. We seek attention or validation because we believe that without it, we are not enough. But, dear one, the truth is that you are enough. The teachings of the Buddha remind us that we are all complete, just as we are. We do not need external validation to confirm our worth. When someone ignores you, use this as a moment to deepen your practice of self-love. Instead of chasing after their attention, give that attention to yourself. Sit quietly, breathe, and remind yourself, I am worthy of love and kindness from myself and others. This is not arrogance. This is the recognition of your inherent value as a human being. Let us also remember impermanence, one of the key teachings of Buddhism. Everything in life is constantly changing, including relationships and the way people treat us. Today, someone may ignore you, but tomorrow, that may change. Or perhaps it won't. But either way, it is not permanent. The feelings of hurt and rejection will pass, just as clouds pass through the sky. You are the sky, vast and unchanging, while emotions and circumstances are the clouds that drift by. When you realize this, you stop clinging to the need for others to act in a certain way. You free yourself from the pain of unmet expectations. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people, but rather that you stop letting their actions control your peace of mind. In this way, you can remain calm and centered, even when others choose to turn away. There is great power in silence. Sometimes, when someone ignores us, they are giving us a gift, the gift of space to grow stronger within ourselves. Take this time to cultivate your inner peace, your compassion, and your understanding. When you do this, you become unshakable, like a mountain standing tall, no matter how strong the winds blow. In closing, remember this: you are never truly ignored. Even if the world around you grows quiet, there is always a voice within, the voice of your own heart, the voice of wisdom and peace. Listen to it, trust it, and let it guide you through the moments of silence. When you learn to be at peace with yourself, the actions of others lose their power to hurt you. Take this lesson to heart, dear one. The path of self-compassion is a lifelong journey, but each step brings you closer to the peace that already exists within you. When you practice this, being ignored no longer feels like a burden, but rather an opportunity to grow, to heal, and to love yourself more deeply than ever before. Keep walking this path, and you will find that the peace you seek is not in the hands of others, but within your own heart. Embracing impermanence, the Buddhist approach to relationships. Impermanence. It is one of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism, and yet it is also one of the hardest to truly understand. Everything in life changes, and nothing stays the same forever. People change, circumstances shift, and the relationships we hold so dear are no exception. When someone ignores us, we often feel that this moment of pain will last forever. But if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, we see that nothing lasts, not even the pain of being ignored. Let me explain it simply. Imagine a leaf on a tree. In spring, the leaf is green and full of life, soaking in the sunlight. But as the seasons change, the leaf turns yellow, then brown, and eventually falls to the ground. Is the leaf's journey a failure? No. It's simply the natural process of life, changing, evolving, and eventually letting go. This is how everything in life works, including relationships. They blossom, change, and sometimes they fade. But we don't have to suffer when they do. In relationships, we often hold tightly to expectations. We want people to behave a certain way, to respond to us, to care about us in the way we think they should. But the truth is, people are like that leaf. They change. Their moods, their priorities, even their feelings toward us can shift over time. This doesn't mean they don't care, but it does mean that holding on to rigid expectations only leads to suffering. When someone ignores us, instead of feeling hurt or angry, we can remind ourselves that this moment, too, will pass. The pain of being ignored is not permanent, just as the happiness we once felt in that relationship wasn't permanent either. Buddhism teaches us to embrace this impermanence, to accept that change is a natural part of life. When we do this, we become free. Free from the chains of expectations, free from the pain of disappointment, free from the need to control everything and everyone around us. Think about it. How much lighter would you feel if you could accept that everything changes? If you could let go of the need for things to always go your way? Let's look at an example. Suppose you have a friend who used to call you every day. You shared stories, laughed, and had deep conversations. But suddenly, they stop calling. Days go by, and your phone doesn't ring. At first, you feel confused, then hurt, and maybe even angry. You might start thinking, what did I do wrong? Why are they ignoring me? But if you pause and remind yourself of impermanence, you'll realize that this situation is just part of the natural flow of life. Maybe your friend is going through their changes. Maybe their circumstances have shifted. And just like the leaf on the tree, your friendship might be in a different season now. This doesn't mean that your friendship is over or that it has lost its value. It just means that it's changing. And change is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. When we let go of the need for things to stay the same, we allow ourselves to experience life with an open heart. We stop resisting the flow of life, and we start flowing with it. In relationships, clinging is a major source of suffering. When we cling to how things used to be or how we want them to be, we create tension within ourselves. We feel frustrated when things don't go our way, and we feel hurt when people don't meet our expectations. But clinging is like holding tightly onto a rope. The tighter we hold, the more it burns our hands. If we loosen our grip, we stop feeling the pain. Impermanence teaches us to loosen our grip. It teaches us that it's okay to let go, to allow things to change naturally. When someone ignores you, it's not the end of the world. It's simply a part of the natural flow of life. People have their reasons, and those reasons are often not about you. Maybe they're dealing with their issues. Maybe they've simply drifted into a different season of their life. Instead of clinging to what used to be, we can practice letting go and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This doesn't mean that we stop caring about people. Not at all. We can still care deeply about others without clinging to them. We can still love without needing them to behave in a certain way. This is the beauty of embracing impermanence. It frees us to love without attachment. We can appreciate people for who they are in this moment without trying to control or change them. Think about a river flowing gently through the forest. The water moves around rocks and bends, always flowing, always changing. The river doesn't try to hold onto any particular spot. It simply moves forward, allowing the landscape to shape it naturally. In relationships, we can be like the river. We can flow with the changes, allowing people to come and go in our lives without trying to hold them back. When someone ignores us, we can let go of the need for their attention and continue flowing forward with grace and peace. This doesn't mean that we ignore our feelings. Of course, it hurts when someone we care about ignores us. But instead of being consumed by that hurt, we can observe it with compassion. We can say to ourselves, yes, this hurts, but it's okay. This moment will pass, just like everything else. And with this understanding, we can let go of the pain and continue moving forward. In Buddhism, impermanence is not something to fear. It's something to celebrate. It reminds us that everything is in constant motion, that nothing stays the same forever. This gives us hope. It means that no matter how painful a moment may seem, it will eventually pass. And in that passing, we find new opportunities for growth, new chances to experience love and connection in different ways. So, the next time someone ignores you, remember the leaf on the tree. Remember the river flowing through the forest. And most importantly, remember that this moment of hurt is not permanent. It will pass, just like everything else. Embrace the impermanence of life, and you will find a peace that no one can take away from you. This is the path of wisdom, the path of true freedom. Mindfulness, observing emotional reactions without judgment. So here we are. You've come seeking guidance on how to handle the discomfort of being ignored. It stirs something deep within, doesn't it? The mind becomes restless, the heart unsettled. When someone ignores you, it's as though they've taken a small piece of your peace. But what if I told you that no one can take your peace unless you allow it? This is where the practice of mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness, in its simplest form, is about observing what is happening in the present moment without trying to change it. Whether it's a feeling, a thought, or an experience like being ignored, you don't have to judge it as good or bad. You simply notice it. But why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to immediately fix the problem, resolve the situation, or demand attention from the person who is ignoring you? Because reacting from a place of impatience or frustration will only pull you further from peace. When someone ignores us, it can feel like a personal attack. We start thinking, why don't they care about me? Or what did I do wrong? These are natural thoughts, but they lead us down a path of self-doubt, anger, or sadness. The key is to recognize these feelings without letting them control you. By practicing mindfulness, you can observe your emotions as they arise, like clouds passing through the sky. You acknowledge their presence, but you don't let them dictate how you feel or act. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you send a message to someone and they don't respond. The silence feels heavy, doesn't it? Now, instead of immediately jumping to conclusions or sending more messages in frustration, pause. Take a deep breath. Notice how your body feels. Perhaps there's tension in your chest or a tightness in your stomach. These are natural physical reactions to feeling ignored. But instead of reacting, just observe. This is mindfulness in action. You don't need to fix the discomfort immediately. Mindfulness teaches us that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to have those moments of uncertainty. What's important is that you don't attach to those feelings. You don't let them define who you are. By observing the discomfort without trying to push it away, you give yourself space to breathe and think more clearly. You regain control over your emotions rather than letting your emotions control you. Now, let's talk about judgment. When you're being ignored, it's easy to judge the situation or the person ignoring you. They must be doing this on purpose, you might think, or they don't care about me. These judgments feed negative emotions and can make the situation feel worse than it actually is. But in reality, we often don't know why someone is ignoring us. They could be busy, distracted, or going through something we know nothing about. Mindfulness asks us to release judgment and replace it with curiosity. Instead of thinking, "Why are they ignoring me?" you might consider, "I wonder what's going on with them right now." This shift in perspective softens the emotional blow. It takes the focus off of you and your pain and opens up space for compassion, for yourself and for others. Remember, mindfulness is not about ignoring your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about meeting them with kindness and understanding. When you feel hurt or upset by being ignored, acknowledge that hurt. Say to yourself, "I feel hurt right now, and that's okay." This simple act of recognition can reduce the intensity of the emotion. You see, in Buddhism, we understand that all emotions are temporary. They rise and fall, like waves in the ocean. If you react impulsively to the first wave of hurt, you may create even bigger waves of suffering for yourself. But if you stay still, like a calm observer, the waves will pass, and you'll find peace in the quiet that follows. Here's something to practice next time you feel ignored. Sit quietly and bring your attention to your breath. Notice how the air moves in and out of your body. Let your thoughts and emotions come and go, without holding on to them. If the feeling of being ignored comes up, acknowledge it without judgment. Say to yourself, "This is just a feeling. It will pass." This practice might seem simple, but over time, it can transform how you handle difficult situations. And mindfulness isn't just about sitting quietly. It can be practiced in the middle of your daily life. When you're waiting for a reply, instead of checking your phone every few minutes, bring your attention to the present moment. Look around you. Notice the colors, the sounds, the textures of what's around you. This simple shift in focus can pull you out of the anxious loop of waiting and bring you back to a place of calm. Over time, mindfulness helps us see the bigger picture. We start to understand that being ignored is not the end of the world. It's just one moment in time, and like all moments, it will pass. By staying mindful, you can respond to life's challenges from a place of peace rather than reacting from a place of pain. In the next parts of this journey, we'll continue exploring how mindfulness and other Buddhist teachings can help you navigate life's difficulties with more ease and grace. For now, remember this: you are not defined by how others treat you. You are defined by how you respond to life's challenges. Through mindfulness, you can observe, reflect, and choose peace, even when someone else chooses to ignore you. Let that be your strength. Let that be your practice. The power of silence, using non-reaction as strength. The power of silence. It is something most people do not think about. Yet, silence holds great wisdom, especially when others choose to ignore us. When someone ignores you, it is easy to feel hurt, to react with frustration, or to seek validation through words. But today, we will explore something different. We will explore the strength that lies in silence, the kind of silence that speaks louder than any words. You see, when someone chooses to ignore you, it is not always about you. In fact, often it is not about you at all. People are complex, and their reasons for pulling away or becoming distant are tied to their own inner struggles. The Buddha taught that clinging to expectations from others creates suffering. We expect a response, acknowledgement, or even validation from those around us. But when we don't receive it, we feel hurt. That hurt, however, comes not from their actions, but from our attachment to their actions. When we choose to respond to silence with more silence, not out of anger, but out of wisdom, we begin to understand a deeper truth. Silence can be a form of strength, a peaceful response that doesn't demand attention but invites reflection. Silence, in moments of being ignored, gives us space, and in that space we find ourselves. Let me share a simple teaching with you. When you react to being ignored with words or emotional outbursts, you give away your power. You let the other person's actions control your feelings and dictate your behavior. But when you remain calm, when you stay silent, you keep your power. This silence is not weakness. It is not about accepting mistreatment. It is about standing firm in your peace, knowing that your inner strength does not depend on how others treat you. Imagine a mountain, a strong, unshakable mountain. No matter how fierce the winds blow or how loud the thunder roars, the mountain remains still. It does not need to shout back at the storm because its strength lies in its silence. You too can be like the mountain. When ignored, you do not need to react with frustration or anger. Instead, you can remain steady, grounded in your own peace. This is the true power of silence. Buddhism teaches us that everything is impermanent, including the feeling of being ignored. It comes and goes like clouds passing through the sky. If you chase the clouds, you will never be at rest. But if you simply observe them, you will find peace in knowing they will soon pass. Silence allows you to watch these emotions without chasing them. It gives you time to breathe, reflect, and understand that your value is not determined by someone else's attention. In many situations, silence can also be a mirror. When someone ignores you and you respond with silence, it forces them to reflect on their own behavior. In the absence of your reaction, they may begin to see their actions more clearly. This does not mean you are punishing them. Rather, it gives them the space to think. And often, in that space, healing can begin. Remember, silence is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about giving yourself the time and space to understand those feelings without being consumed by them. When you are ignored, it is natural to feel hurt. But instead of reacting immediately, practice sitting with those feelings. Notice them, acknowledge them, and then let them pass, just as a breeze passes through the trees. The more you practice this, the more you will find that the hurt loses its grip on you. The Buddha once said, "Silence is sometimes the best answer." This teaching holds great wisdom in moments of being ignored. When you choose silence, you are not avoiding the issue. You are choosing to rise above it. You are choosing to not let someone else's actions define your peace. You are choosing wisdom over impulse. Let's also consider the nature of communication. In our modern world, people are constantly bombarded with messages, notifications, and distractions. It is easy for someone to forget to respond or to overlook a message. This does not mean they are intentionally ignoring you. By staying silent, you give both yourself and the other person the space to communicate more mindfully when the time is right. Rushing to react often leads to misunderstandings, but silence creates room for clarity. When practicing silence, remember to combine it with mindfulness. Being silent does not mean bottling up your emotions. It means observing them with a calm mind. Pay attention to how you feel when you are ignored. Is it sadness, frustration, anger? Acknowledge these emotions, but do not let them control you. Watch them as if you were watching waves on the shore, coming and going, but never staying forever. In this way, you begin to see that silence is not an absence of action, but a presence of wisdom. One of the greatest gifts Buddhism offers is the understanding that our reactions are within our control. The world may ignore us, people may ignore us, but we always have the choice to remain at peace within ourselves. Silence, in this way, becomes a powerful tool for maintaining that inner peace. In silence, we also find clarity. When the noise of expectations, frustrations, and desires quiets down, we are able to hear the truth within ourselves. We no longer need external validation to feel whole. We realize that our worth is not dependent on whether someone acknowledges us or not. In silence, we return to our true self, a self that is complete, just as it is. As we conclude this part, remember that silence is not a retreat from life. It is a step toward greater understanding and peace. When someone ignores you, it is an invitation to practice silence. In that silence, you find your strength. In that strength, you find your peace. Let the next time you are ignored be a moment for growth. Rather than reacting out of hurt or frustration, choose silence. In that silence, you will discover the quiet power within you. A power that does not need to shout, but simply is. This is the path of the wise. This is the power of silence. Karma and ignorance, understanding the cycle of actions. In the journey of life, we often find ourselves puzzled by why certain things happen to us. Have you ever wondered why some situations seem to repeat themselves? Or why certain challenges keep appearing no matter how hard you try to avoid them? These questions touch the very essence of karma and ignorance in Buddhist teachings. Let us delve deeper into understanding this cycle and how it affects our lives. Imagine planting a seed in your garden. You water it, give it sunlight, and patiently wait for it to grow. Over time, the seed sprouts into a beautiful plant. Similarly, our actions are like seeds we plant in the garden of our lives. Every thought, word, and deed we perform sows a seed that will eventually bear fruit. This is the essence of karma, the law of cause and effect. Karma teaches us that nothing happens by chance. Every action we take sets off a chain of events that shape our future. Good actions lead to positive outcomes, while harmful actions bring about suffering. This understanding encourages us to live mindfully, making choices that lead to happiness and peace. However, karma is not about punishment or reward. It is a natural law that ensures balance in the universe. Just as gravity pulls objects towards the earth, karma ensures that our actions have consequences. This realization helps us take responsibility for our lives, knowing that we have the power to shape our destiny through our actions. Ignorance, or avidya, is the root cause of suffering in Buddhist philosophy. It is the misunderstanding of the true nature of reality. When we are ignorant, we fail to see the connection between our actions and their consequences. This lack of understanding keeps us trapped in a cycle of repetitive suffering. Consider a person who repeatedly acts out of anger. Each angry reaction plants a seed of hostility, leading to more anger and conflict in the future. Without understanding the link between their actions and outcomes, they remain stuck in this harmful cycle. This is the impact of ignorance. It blinds us to the consequences of our actions, keeping us bound to suffering. Breaking free from this cycle begins with awareness. By becoming mindful of our actions and their effects, we can begin to change our patterns. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts and behaviors without judgment, creating space for conscious choices. This awareness is the first step towards overcoming ignorance. Buddhism teaches that by cultivating wisdom, we can dispel ignorance. Wisdom is the deep understanding of the true nature of reality. It involves seeing things as they are, without the distortions of our desires and fears. With wisdom, we recognize the interconnectedness of all actions and their consequences. When we act with wisdom, our actions become intentional and compassionate. We choose to perform deeds that benefit ourselves and others, planting seeds of kindness and generosity. These positive actions lead to a harmonious and fulfilling life, free from the repetitive cycles of suffering. Moreover, understanding karma empowers us to transform our lives. Instead of feeling helpless in the face of challenges, we realize that we have the power to change our circumstances through our actions. Every moment becomes an opportunity to create positive change and break free from negative patterns. The cycle of karma and ignorance also highlights the importance of ethical living. By adhering to moral principles, we ensure that our actions contribute to our well-being and the well-being of others. Ethical conduct is the foundation of a balanced and peaceful life, preventing the accumulation of negative karma. In addition to ethical living, meditation plays a crucial role in overcoming ignorance. Through meditation, we cultivate mindfulness and clarity, allowing us to see the true nature of our thoughts and actions. This practice deepens our understanding of karma, helping us make wiser choices. Buddhist teachings emphasize that karma is not destiny. While our past actions influence our present, we have the ability to shape our future through mindful actions. This belief instills hope and encourages us to take proactive steps towards personal growth and transformation. Furthermore, karma and ignorance are interconnected with the concept of impermanence. Everything in life is transient, and our actions contribute to the ever-changing flow of existence. By embracing impermanence, we understand that our actions have lasting effects, motivating us to act with intention and awareness. The cycle of karma also extends beyond individual lives. Our actions contribute to the collective karma of our communities and the world. This interconnectedness fosters a sense of responsibility towards others, encouraging us to act with compassion and empathy. Understanding karma and ignorance empowers us to live authentically. We align our actions with our true values and aspirations, creating a life that reflects our deepest intentions. This alignment brings a sense of fulfillment and inner peace, free from the turmoil of unmindful actions. In conclusion, the teachings of karma and ignorance offer profound insights into the nature of our lives. By recognizing the impact of our actions and overcoming ignorance through wisdom and mindfulness, we can break free from the cycles of suffering. This journey towards understanding and transformation leads us to a life of harmony, compassion, and lasting peace. As we continue exploring these teachings, let us remember that every action we take shapes our reality. Embrace the power of karma, dispel ignorance with wisdom, and walk the path of mindful living towards a brighter, more fulfilling future. Compassion for others, seeing beyond the act of being ignored. In the journey of understanding why someone might ignore us, it's essential to cultivate compassion for others. When someone chooses to ignore us, it's easy to jump to conclusions, assuming it's something we did wrong or that they don't value our presence. However, Buddhism teaches us to look deeper and see beyond the surface actions to understand the underlying reasons. Imagine a scenario where a colleague consistently overlooks your contributions during meetings. Your initial reaction might be frustration or hurt, wondering why they don't acknowledge your efforts. Instead of letting these emotions fester, Buddhism encourages us to approach the situation with compassion. Perhaps your colleague is under immense stress, dealing with personal issues, or simply unaware of the impact of their actions. By considering these possibilities, we shift our perspective from blame to understanding. Compassion begins with empathy, the ability to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. It's about recognizing that everyone has their own struggles and challenges that influence their behavior. When we practice empathy, we open our hearts to the experiences of others, reducing feelings of resentment and anger. This shift not only alleviates our own suffering, but also fosters healthier relationships. Furthermore, compassion allows us to respond rather than react. When ignored, our immediate reaction might be to confront or withdraw, both of which can escalate the situation. Instead, responding with compassion involves a calm and thoughtful approach. It might mean reaching out to understand what's going on with the other person, or giving them the space they need without taking it personally. This mindful response can lead to meaningful conversations and resolutions. Buddhism also teaches us about the interconnectedness of all beings. When someone ignores us, it's not an isolated event, but part of a larger web of relationships and interactions. Understanding this interconnectedness helps us see that their behavior is a reflection of their own state of mind and circumstances, not a judgment of our worth. This realization can bring a sense of peace, knowing that their actions are not a reflection of our value. Moreover, practicing compassion helps us develop patience and tolerance. It takes time to understand another person's perspective and the reasons behind their actions. Patience allows us to give others the benefit of the doubt and avoid jumping to negative assumptions. Tolerance, on the other hand, helps us accept that people behave differently and that their actions are influenced by various factors beyond our control. In addition to empathy and patience, compassion involves active kindness. Even when someone ignores us, we can choose to respond with kindness rather than hostility. A simple gesture, like offering support or a kind word, can bridge the gap created by their silence. This not only uplifts the other person, but also strengthens our own sense of compassion and resilience. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of loving kindness, or metta, which is the practice of extending unconditional love and goodwill to all beings. By cultivating metta, we train our minds to respond to negative situations with positive intentions. This practice transforms our interactions, making us more compassionate and less reactive to being ignored or mistreated. Another aspect of compassion is forgiveness. Holding on to grudges or past hurts only prolongs our suffering. By forgiving those who ignore us, we release ourselves from the burden of negative emotions. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning their behavior, but rather freeing ourselves from the emotional chains that keep us stuck in pain. Compassion also encourages us to focus on our own growth and well-being. When we divert our energy from resentment to understanding, we create space for personal development. This shift allows us to build inner strength and resilience, making us less affected by external actions. By prioritizing our own peace, we become less dependent on others for our happiness and validation. In situations where someone repeatedly ignores us despite our efforts to understand and connect, Buddhism advises us to practice detachment. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means maintaining our inner balance regardless of external circumstances. By detaching from the need for their acknowledgement, we protect our own mental and emotional well-being. Furthermore, compassion extends to ourselves. Often, when we feel ignored, we become our own harshest critics. Buddhism teaches us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we offer others. By being compassionate towards ourselves, we heal the wounds caused by being ignored and build a foundation of self-love and acceptance. In the broader context, compassion fosters a harmonious environment. When we approach interactions with empathy and kindness, we contribute to a more supportive and understanding community. This collective compassion can break the cycle of negativity and create a space where everyone feels valued and respected. Practicing compassion also enhances our spiritual growth. It aligns us with the Buddhist principles of non-attachment, loving kindness, and mindfulness. Each act of compassion is a step towards enlightenment as it purifies our hearts and minds, leading us closer to inner peace and wisdom. Ultimately, compassion transforms the way we perceive and react to being ignored. Instead of seeing it as a personal affront, we understand it as an opportunity to practice empathy, patience, and kindness. This shift not only alleviates our own suffering but also fosters deeper connections and understanding with others. By embracing compassion, we learn to navigate the complexities of human relationships with grace and wisdom. We become more resilient in the face of adversity, finding strength in our ability to remain kind and understanding. This inner strength is a cornerstone of Buddhist teachings, guiding us towards a life of peace, fulfillment, and spiritual growth. In conclusion, compassion for others is a powerful tool in overcoming the pain of being ignored. It allows us to see beyond the immediate hurt and understand the broader context of human behavior. Through empathy, patience, kindness, and forgiveness, we cultivate a compassionate heart that not only heals our own wounds, but also positively impacts those around us. Embracing compassion transforms our interactions, leading us to a more peaceful and enlightened existence. Detachment, finding freedom from external approval. In the journey of life, many find themselves seeking approval from others. Whether it's friends, family, or colleagues, the desire to be accepted can be strong. But what happens when this need for external approval becomes overwhelming? The Zen master teaches that true freedom lies in detachment. Detachment does not mean you stop caring about others or lose compassion. Instead, it means you release the need for others to validate your worth. When you detach from seeking approval, you begin to understand that your value comes from within, not from what others think of you. Imagine a tree that bends with every gust of wind. It may sway, but it remains rooted. Similarly, when you are detached, you remain steady despite the opinions and actions of others. This inner strength allows you to face life's challenges with grace and resilience. The Zen master explains that attachment to external approval can lead to suffering. When you base your happiness on others' opinions, you give them power over your emotions. If their views change or if they ignore you, your sense of self-worth can plummet. Detachment frees you from this emotional dependency. Cultivating detachment begins with self-awareness. Notice when you seek approval and understand why. Is it out of fear, insecurity, or a genuine desire to connect? By identifying these moments, you can start to shift your focus inward, valuing your own thoughts and feelings above external judgments. Mindfulness practices are essential in developing detachment. By staying present and observing your thoughts without judgment, you can create a space between you and the need for approval. This space allows you to respond to situations calmly rather than reacting out of a desire to be liked. The Zen master encourages embracing your true self. Authenticity is the foundation of detachment. When you live according to your values and beliefs, you become less concerned with fitting into others' expectations. This authenticity attracts genuine relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. Letting go of the need for external approval also means accepting yourself fully. Self-acceptance is a powerful tool in the path of detachment. It involves recognizing your strengths and weaknesses without harsh judgment. By accepting yourself, you reduce the need to seek validation from others. Another important aspect is understanding impermanence. Just as seasons change, so do people's opinions and circumstances. By accepting that nothing is permanent, you can detach from the fluctuating desires for approval. This acceptance brings peace and stability to your inner world. The Zen master highlights the importance of focusing on your own growth. When you prioritize your personal development over others' approval, you cultivate a sense of purpose and fulfillment. This focus shifts your energy from seeking validation to building a meaningful life. Practicing gratitude also aids in detachment. By appreciating what you have and who you are, you diminish the need for external approval. Gratitude fosters contentment and reduces the craving for more recognition or praise from others. Detachment allows you to form healthier relationships. Without the burden of seeking approval, interactions become more genuine and less transactional. You engage with others out of kindness and mutual respect rather than a need for acceptance. The Zen master advises patience in the practice of detachment. It is not an overnight transformation, but a gradual process. Be gentle with yourself as you navigate this path, understanding that setbacks are part of growth. Visualization techniques can support detachment. Picture yourself free from the need for approval, standing strong and confident in your own worth. This mental imagery reinforces your commitment to inner freedom and self-reliance. Meditation is a powerful tool for fostering detachment. By quieting the mind, you can observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming attached to them. Regular meditation cultivates a calm and centered state of being. The Zen master emphasizes the importance of letting go. Holding on to the need for approval only perpetuates suffering. By releasing these attachments, you open yourself to a deeper sense of peace and contentment. Service to others also aids in detachment. When you focus on helping and supporting others without expecting anything in return, you shift your focus from self to others. This selflessness naturally reduces the need for external validation. Understanding the concept of non-self, anatta, in Buddhism helps in detachment. Recognizing that your identity is not tied to others' opinions allows you to maintain your sense of self regardless of external circumstances. The Zen master reminds us that detachment does not mean isolation. It's about maintaining healthy boundaries and relationships without becoming overly dependent on others' approval. You can love and connect with others while still valuing your own independence. Affirmations can reinforce detachment. Repeating positive statements about your self-worth and independence helps to rewire your mindset. These affirmations strengthen your belief in your own value, reducing the need for external validation. Engaging in creative activities also supports detachment. Whether it's painting, writing, or any other form of expression, creativity allows you to connect with your inner self. This connection fosters self-reliance and diminishes the need for outside approval. The Zen master teaches that true happiness comes from within. By detaching from the need for external approval, you unlock a profound sense of joy and fulfillment that is not dependent on anyone else. This inner happiness is enduring and unshakable. In moments of doubt or when you feel ignored, remember the teachings of detachment. Reflect on your intrinsic worth in the strength that comes from within. Let go of the need for approval and embrace the peace that detachment brings. As you continue on this path, you will find that detachment liberates you from the chains of external validation. You become free to live authentically, pursue your passions, and cultivate meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. Detachment is not about becoming indifferent, but about finding balance. It's about caring deeply without being consumed by the need for others' approval. This balance leads to a harmonious and fulfilling life. The Zen master concludes that detachment is a journey of self-discovery and inner strength. By embracing detachment, you discover the true essence of your being and find freedom from the constraints of external approval. This liberation allows you to live a life of peace, purpose, and genuine happiness. Patience and wisdom, cultivating a long-term perspective. In the journey of life, patience is often seen as a virtue, but what does it truly mean to cultivate patience? Have you ever felt overwhelmed by immediate challenges, wishing for quick solutions? Or perhaps you've struggled to maintain hope when results seem distant. These feelings are common, and Buddhism offers profound insights to help us develop patience and wisdom. Consider the bamboo tree. For the first 5 years, it shows no visible growth above the soil. But beneath the surface, its roots are expanding and strengthening. In the 6th year, it suddenly shoots up to great heights. This example teaches us that growth often happens quietly and gradually, even when we can't see it. Patience is not just waiting. It's how we wait. It's about maintaining a calm and steady heart, even when things aren't happening as quickly as we'd like. Wisdom comes from understanding that everything has its own time and place. By cultivating patience, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life. When someone ignores you, it can be tempting to react immediately with frustration or anger. However, Buddhism encourages us to take a step back and observe our emotions. Instead of reacting impulsively, we practice patience, allowing ourselves to respond with clarity and understanding. Wisdom teaches us that every situation, no matter how challenging, has something to teach us. Being ignored can be an opportunity to reflect on our own behaviors and expectations. It invites us to look inward and seek growth, rather than placing blame or seeking validation from others. In moments of silence and solitude, we can cultivate a long-term perspective. This means seeing beyond the present discomfort and recognizing the bigger picture. Patience allows us to trust that things will unfold as they should, even if the path is not immediately clear. Developing patience also involves embracing uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and resisting this reality only leads to more frustration. By accepting uncertainty, we become more adaptable and resilient, better equipped to handle whatever comes our way. Wisdom and patience go hand in hand. Wisdom provides us with the understanding of how things work, while patience gives us the strength to endure and persist. Together, they help us navigate life's challenges with grace and composure. When we cultivate patience, we also cultivate compassion for ourselves and others. We begin to understand that everyone has their own struggles and reasons for their actions. This understanding fosters empathy and reduces the tendency to take things personally. Patience is a practice, not a one-time achievement. It requires consistent effort and mindfulness. Each time we find ourselves growing impatient, we have the opportunity to practice patience and deepen our wisdom. Through meditation and mindfulness, we can train our minds to remain calm and centered. These practices help us develop the mental clarity needed to maintain a long-term perspective, even in the face of immediate challenges. In relationships, patience allows us to give others the time and space they need. It helps us build stronger, more meaningful connections based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than on immediate gratification or recognition. Patience also enhances our ability to set and achieve long-term goals. It teaches us to work steadily towards our aspirations, understanding that meaningful progress often takes time and sustained effort. Wisdom guides us to prioritize what truly matters. It helps us distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, allowing us to focus our energy on the latter and reduce unnecessary stress and anxiety. By cultivating patience, we learn to appreciate the journey rather than just the destination. This shift in focus helps us find joy and fulfillment in the present moment, even as we work towards our future goals. Patience strengthens our resilience. It equips us with the inner strength to withstand setbacks and challenges, knowing that each obstacle is an opportunity for growth and learning. Wisdom encourages us to view challenges as part of life's natural ebb and flow. This perspective helps us remain balanced and composed, rather than being swept away by negative emotions or reactions. In times of being ignored, patience allows us to maintain our self-worth and confidence. We learn to value ourselves independently of others' recognition or attention, fostering a deeper sense of inner peace. Patience also promotes better decision-making. When we take the time to fully consider our options and the potential outcomes, we make more informed and thoughtful choices, rather than acting out of immediate emotion. Wisdom teaches us the importance of letting go. By releasing our attachment to specific outcomes, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and open ourselves to new possibilities and experiences. Ultimately, cultivating patience and wisdom helps us build a foundation of inner strength and serenity. It allows us to face life's challenges with a calm and steady heart, confident in our ability to navigate whatever comes our way. As we continue on this journey, remember that patience and wisdom are not destinations but ongoing practices. Each day offers new opportunities to deepen these qualities and enhance our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. By embracing patience and wisdom, we transform our experiences, finding peace and fulfillment even in the most challenging circumstances. This long-term perspective empowers us to live more fully and harmoniously, in alignment with the teachings of Buddhism. Conclusion: inner strength through the teachings of Buddhism. As the journey through understanding how to handle being ignored comes to a close, it's important to reflect on the lessons learned. Buddhism offers profound insights that help us build inner strength, enabling us to navigate the challenges of being overlooked or neglected by others. Throughout this series, we have explored various aspects of Buddhist philosophy, each shedding light on different ways to cope with the feelings of being ignored. From acceptance and self-compassion to mindfulness and detachment, these teachings guide us toward a more peaceful and resilient mindset. At the heart of Buddhism is the principle of impermanence. Nothing remains the same forever, including our emotions and relationships. When someone ignores us, it's easy to feel hurt and question our worth. However, understanding that these feelings are temporary allows us to let go of the attachment to how others perceive us. This detachment doesn't mean we stop caring. Rather, it means we no longer allow others' actions to dictate our inner peace. Self-compassion is another vital lesson we've discussed. Treating ourselves with kindness and understanding during times of neglect helps heal the wounds caused by being ignored. Instead of criticizing ourselves or seeking validation externally, we learn to nurture our own well-being from within. This shift in focus empowers us to find strength in our solitude rather than feeling diminished by it. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in managing our reactions. By staying present and observing our emotions without judgment, we prevent ourselves from being overwhelmed by negative feelings. Mindfulness teaches us to acknowledge our pain without letting it consume us, fostering a balanced and calm state of mind. The concept of karma reminds us that our actions have consequences, but it also encourages us to act with integrity regardless of others' responses. When we are ignored, it's a reminder to continue living authentically and compassionately without expecting anything in return. This unconditional approach to our actions reinforces our inner strength and resilience. Compassion for others is equally important. Understanding that someone ignoring us might be dealing with their own struggles helps us cultivate empathy rather than resentment. This broader perspective shifts our focus from self-centered feelings to a more universal sense of connectedness, reinforcing our inner peace. Patience and wisdom guide us to see beyond immediate reactions and to embrace a long-term perspective. By patiently enduring the discomfort of being ignored, we build resilience and gain deeper insights into our own minds and behaviors. Wisdom allows us to learn from each experience, transforming pain into personal growth. The middle path, a fundamental Buddhist teaching, emphasizes balance in all aspects of life. It teaches us to navigate our emotions and relationships without extreme reactions. By maintaining this balance, we avoid the pitfalls of overreacting or suppressing our feelings, leading to a more harmonious existence. In embracing these teachings, we discover that true strength comes from within. External validation becomes less important as we cultivate a robust inner foundation. This inner strength not only helps us handle being ignored, but also enriches every aspect of our lives, enabling us to face future challenges with grace and confidence. Ultimately, the journey of understanding how to deal with being ignored is also a journey of self-discovery. Through Buddhist principles, we learn to value ourselves independently of others' opinions, fostering a sense of self-worth that is unshaken by external circumstances. This profound self-awareness is the cornerstone of lasting inner peace and happiness. As we conclude this series, remember that the teachings of Buddhism are tools you can carry with you throughout your life. They offer guidance and support, helping you build a resilient and compassionate heart. Whether you face being ignored or other life challenges, these principles empower you to respond with wisdom and grace. Embracing these lessons transforms how you perceive and interact with the world. Instead of feeling powerless when ignored, you gain the ability to maintain your dignity and self-respect. This empowerment is a testament to the transformative power of Buddhist teachings, fostering a life of balance, peace, and inner strength. In times of neglect, remind yourself of the impermanent nature of all things. Let go of the need for constant validation and turn inward to find your true self. This shift in focus not only alleviates the pain of being ignored, but also enhances your overall well-being, leading to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. As you continue on your path, remember that every experience, including being ignored, is an opportunity for growth. Use these moments to deepen your understanding of yourself and to strengthen your connection with the present moment. This continuous growth is the essence of the Buddhist journey toward enlightenment. Thank you for embarking on this journey with wisdom woven. May the insights gained from these teachings guide you toward a life of inner peace and unwavering strength. Embrace the wisdom within and let it illuminate your path, no matter the challenges you face.